Okay guys, well it's now Friday. It's been a week since Neil ran on my foot. I'm just going to ring Crime Stoppers because I have a few questions. See what happens. Well, I have a few questions if I could. Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead, we'll see if we can answer them.
Last Friday, I had a man roll his car onto my foot, and then he reversed off of my foot and left. Would that be considered an assault or anything like that? I had to scream at him to get off of my foot. He got out of the car. He saw he was on my foot, backed away, and then left.
I would say it was just someone you knew, or just a stranger?
I've only met the man one other time.
Oh, okay. I would say it would be case of concern. In cases of Crime Stoppers, you'll best really speak to the police about this if you're a victim of a crime or an assault, so to speak.
Well, my concern is, and this might sound somewhat strange to you, but my concern is that if I go to the local police station, that I may run into the man again because the man was in a police car acting as a police officer at the time.
Oh, I see.
But he's still a man, and he still rolled on my foot and caused me harm, alarm, distress and harassment.
So you've seen him dress up as a policeman before once?
Pardon? Well, he identified himself as Constable Neil Winterbottom.
Oh, I see. You wouldn't necessarily have to go into the police station, I would imagine, but I can put you through to the anonymous line, the main police number, and you can pass your details over to them.
But the website here says that you can't make a claim over the phone. You had to do it in person? Or am I misunderstanding that?
No, usually, I'm not sure why it states that, because with anything that happens, usually, for members of the public, we're encouraged to call up.
Again, I not to be particular, but I don't like classifications, and I'm not a member of anything, I'm just a man. And that was my whole standpoint. I was asking him a few simple questions and he got very angry with me. He was unable to answer my questions and then told me that he believed that as a man he had authority over myself. And no joinder had been created between myself, a man, and any person. No identification had been given to provide any joinder between myself and the legal realm or the legal society in any way, shape or form, or any contract between myself and Land Transport or New Zealand Police. Nothing. I just identified myself as a man. He got offensive, told me he would discuss it after he had finished doing what he was doing. I allowed him to finish what he was doing, and then he attempted to drive away and run away from me. And that is when he ran onto my toe. He left some rubbish on my car, which I was returning to him, and he ran onto my toe, wheeled away, and all of this has been caught on videotape the whole time I was carrying a video camera. And of the somewhat 20 people that have now seen the footage over in the United Kingdom and Canada, they are all absolutely disgusted. That he, in a position of somewhat authority over persons within the society of New Zealand, would act according to like that. He fled the scene of a crime after committing vehicular assault, apparently, according to some legislation. All I know is that I'm a man and he did me harm. And I know this probably sounds a bit strange to you, but I've spent 4 years studying legislation, laws, societies, codes, rules, and I know how to distinguish the difference between myself, a man, and a person, and a citizen, and all the rest of it. And at no time had that man who was acting as a constable, who I thought was supposed to act impartial and uphold the Queen's peace, not enforce statutes, caused me harm and then left. I've sent a letter off to the police commissioner, which is Mike Bush. I sent that to him on Wednesday in writing, asking him a few questions and for an explanation at the very least. I require, order and demand an apology from Neil for his actions at the very least. Otherwise I will seek some matters of finding private prosecution and sue him for the harm he's caused me. I had a sore foot for 3 days afterwards. I had to come home and have painkillers. He trespassed upon my rights as a man to travel and as a man to go from point A to point B unmolested. And it's disgraceful. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sorry, what was your name?
My name is Melvin.
Sorry, Melvin. Okay.
Just trying to time up for just a moment.
Sorry. Yeah. You get what I mean by the difference between a man and a person, do you not? Yeah.
All I'm saying is, like you said, you've studied law and you can easily try to do so. You probably know more than me. So,
I've studied it for 4 years. I probably know more than most lawyers.
Yeah.
Well, and in saying that, I know nothing. I understand none of it. Because as far as the legal society and the legal customs and terms are concerned, I'm just an idiot. I am not of their society. I do not have any wish to be of their society, and I do not understand any of their legal terms and meanings. I'm just a man. I speak English. And unfortunately in New Zealand, everything is written in legislature, which looks like English, but it's legalese. It's legal terms and legal customs, and we're all led to believe it's English, but it's not. That's why we need lawyers to do the interpretation for us, is it not? We can't be present as a man in a court in New Zealand. We can only be represented as a person through legal counsel. And like even now, I'm concerned about whether or not making a complaint is going to go anywhere. I mean, what I don't know, what guarantees or sort of what can you say to me, Melvin, that is going to make me think that there's anything is going to happen in regards to this matter? You know, will anything be done? Will it just be, oh, that guy should have just given him his licence and obeyed and done as he was told, and he deserved to be run over, and off goes the policeman for the second time, I might add. The same man attempted intercourse with myself, and by intercourse I mean conversation. He attempted 2 months ago on the 2nd of September to do the same thing. So I'm also wondering whether or not it was a targeted stop. Thirdly, he stopped me, or he initiated his lights and siren in a 100k area and attempted to issue something called an infringement notice upon a person for doing 75k's in a 100k area. How does that work? Again, all caught on footage. It's all on YouTube for public display. If you wish to go and have a look at it, you are more than welcome to, Melvin. I can give you the channel if you like.
Yeah, what's the channel name?
Sure, the channel's name is commonly known as Mark of the House of Keene. In the last 14 months I've also recorded 32 police cameras in the local area. Are you aware that every time you see a police camera, on average there's $20,000 that's issued worth of infringements a time? So that roughly means in the last year alone in the local community over $500,000 has been extracted from speed cameras. And I haven't seen a roundabout in 13 years that's supposed to have been there. I put it to you that it's all revenue collection, and it's got nothing to do with keeping the speed down. That's just my belief, and I'm entitled to it.
Now you were talking about guarantees before we got to the YouTube channel. To be perfectly honest with you, we don't really have any guarantees that we can pass on to you from the Crime Stoppers line. With what we do here is we pretty much any complaints or anything concerns of the public regarding anything, they call through us. We have a completely sort of independent. It's almost like the independent review office. Yeah,
but then it's still governed by the police, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. And this is where it's sort of tricky for me to try and.
So how can the police itself?
So to speak. Yeah, so that's the thing.
And that's my mentality. I mean, if he was acting as a police constable and upholding the law, and he believed I had done wrong, caused harm, injury or loss to a fellow man, by all means, throw the cuffs on, throw the key away. You know, how dare I hurt another man? But at the end of the day, he was trying to enforce a rule of some code written in a different language that I thought I understood, but have now been made aware that there's no way I understand that stuff. And that it's, yeah, I mean, if I was acting in a commercial capacity as a driver, transporting goods, by all means, I'm bound by the legislative acts of society within that, because I would be using my person and functioning in that capacity. But at that time, at that moment in time when he pulled me over, there was no joinder. And he had no right to physically roll his car onto my foot. The fact that some guy that's supposed to protect and serve can use a car to push someone out of the road, I think's wrong. Do you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, and the fact that I'd also, and I'll put this on record, I'd also issued the gentleman an invoice. The previous stop in September, Neil had ordered me for 3 separate orders. Now I sent him an invoice for those orders via registered post. Those it was first returned to me because I had incorrectly got his last name wrong. I thought it was Waterbottom. Now a couple of weeks later, registered post got returned to me. And then I sent out another registered post to Neil Winterbottom, which I found out his correct name was. And then it was signed for by Celia Snowman at Warkworth Police Station, where it was sent to. Now, on last week, this was brought up with him. He was trying to tell me that the lady that signed for that registered mail, that her name was not Celia Snowman. Now I have it on record from New Zealand Post that the woman that signed for that registered post addressed to Neil Winterbottom was Celia Snowman. So either he's saying that someone that he works with committed mail fraud, or something dodgy's going on, because he's just completely contravened what the New Zealand Post have stated. Do you get what I'm saying there? He was telling me that that was not her name, and the lady that signed, because he said, I work with her and that's not her name. That's on tape. And I mean, on the actual video that's uploaded, the evidence is there for all to see. There is a snapshot of New Zealand Track and Trace showing that Celia Snowman signed for it. So who's lying? If you get what I mean, either Celia Snowman's not her name and she's lying, or it's Neil. Now I know legally, apparently in their world, they're allowed to lie. But as a man, that's contemptible, and he doesn't get to lie to me.